Real-time rendering has rapidly transformed visualization and design across a vast array of industries. The ability to work with complex design data and produce beautiful visuals in rapid succession has also changed how creators experience their designs. In Unreal Engine, it is this ability to work with content in a compelling, efficient, and powerful manner that has helped push these industries into new territory, delivering super high-quality content in the near blink of an eye. Recent advents in hardware and engine technology have further opened the door to an even greater toolset for image fidelity. But in order to truly appreciate the overall benefits that real-time ray tracing provides, we need to first understand the concepts of ray tracing. How does it all work? Or, better yet, what is ray tracing? We could spend an enormous amount of time on the complex mathematics behind what is happening with ray tracing, or, better yet, we can gain a quick understanding with some simple diagrams. The term ray tracing is derived from the process of tracing paths of light from the camera into the scene. Simply put, it is this casting or tracing of rays that formulates a technique in rendering that simulates realistic lighting of a scene by producing physically accurate shadows, reflections, and indirect lighting. With traditional rendering, the process of rasterization is typically utilized, whereby objects within a scene are created by a virtual mesh of triangles. In contrast, ray tracing relies on a system of bouncing photons from object to object before reaching the camera to produce an image. This leads to some very big advantages in visual quality. Ambient occlusion produces a much more robust scene with tighter, more accurate results that properly ground objects. An object's shadow will have sharper shadows near the contact surface than further away where it softens and widens, producing much more realistic scenarios. Ray Trace Global Illumination adds real-time interactive bounce lighting to areas not directly lit by a given light source. Ray traced reflections produce accurate environment reflections, support multiple light bounces, and capture the entire scene dynamically. Ray Traced Translucency accurately represents glass and liquid materials with physically correct reflections, absorption, and refraction on transparent surfaces. These features are only a brief summary of the beauty that real-time ray tracing brings to any scene. Real-time ray tracing in Unreal Engine is allowing visualizers and designers to create stunning imagery that represent physically accurate environments. With advances in GPU hardware development, Unreal Engine is able to further advance the fields of interactivity, visualization, and immersive design. For rendering features that are not ray tracing compatible, Unreal Engine still relies on raster rendering. Coupling ray tracing with existing raster effects allows Unreal Engine to utilize a hybrid approach combining the best of both techniques. In order to utilize real-time ray tracing, a DXR-supported GPU is required. In the Unreal Editor, in versions 4.22 or later, we need to enable DX12 and ray tracing. To do this, we go to our project settings, then to Platforms, Windows, and use the default Render Hardware Interface pull-down menu and select DirectX 12. Next, go to Render Settings and be sure to enable ray tracing. In order for real-time ray tracing to be enabled, we must have Support Compute Skin Cache selected. A restart of the project brings us into a scene that is ray tracing ready. Through a post-process volume, we can access certain parameters to dial in ray tracing features. Here, the real-time ray traced reflections are adjusted, as well as any translucency in the glass materials. There are settings specific to lights to adjust how they affect a ray trace scene. For directional, spot, and point lights, source angle and size, as well as settings for casting ray trace shadows and effect reflection can be toggled. Lastly, there is a samples per pixel setting to affect overall ray trace light quality. These settings are the same for all lights except for the Skylight, where only cast shadowing, effect reflections, and samples per pixel are adjusted. In the post-process volume, ray traced ambient occlusion and global illumination are also easily adjusted to show overall effect on the scene. Lastly, Unreal Engine provides a companion tool to the ray tracer, called a path tracer. This is a very powerful tool to help build an overall ground truth reference image, as it is not limited by the number of samples it can use. For artists, this means being able to fine-tune materials and lighting setups more quickly. Real-time ray tracing is allowing content creators to take their Unreal visualizations to photorealistic renderings right out of the viewport. This latest real-time technology is rapidly changing how visuals and interactives are rendered and created.